Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a simple question. Have you ever met someone who isn't the smartest in the room, not the most talented, not even the fastest, but somehow they always win? You look at them and wonder, what are they doing that I'm not? It's not magic. It's not luck, it's a habit. And this habit will 10x your results instantly. You want to know what it is? It's the habit of execution. Immediate, imperfect, unstoppable action. You see, everyone has ideas, everyone dreams, everyone has plans and strategies and vision, but here's the brutal truth: ideas don't make money. Execution does. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I met a young man who had no money, no connections, and very average grades. But he did one thing differently. Every time he learned something, he applied it that same day, not tomorrow. Not when it was perfect. Now, when others were still Googling, debating, and doubting, he was already testing, failing, fixing, and winning. Today, he runs a business bigger than the people who once laughed at him. Why? Because while they were thinking, he was doing. Execution is not about being perfect. It's about being in motion. Success does not reward the smartest, it rewards the ones who move first. This habit is not hard to understand, but it's hard to do. Why? Because fear likes to dress up as perfection. Fear tells you to wait until everything is ready. Fear says, maybe later, but if you want 10x results, you need a 10x mindset. I'll start now and improve as I go. Let me leave you with this: success is not about doing 1,000 things once. It's about doing one powerful habit every day until people ask, how did you do it? And your answer, I didn't wait. I executed. When people chase success, growth, or mastery, they often think they need to go all in, all at once. The world has glamorized the image of intense hustle, sleepless nights, massive to-do lists, and dramatic transformation stories that happen overnight. But the truth is, the most powerful progress rarely looks like a highlight reel. It looks boring. It looks repetitive. It looks slow. And that's why most people ignore the habit that actually works: consistency over intensity. Intensity is seductive. It gives you an adrenaline rush. You feel like you're doing something big. You pull an all-nighter, write 20 pages in one sitting, go to the gym for 3 hours after skipping it for months, or decide to completely overhaul your diet in a single day. For a moment, you feel like a superhero, but that feeling doesn't last. Because intensity is a sprint and life is a marathon. What's harder, yet infinitely more effective, is showing up every day, especially when you don't feel like it. Writing just 1 page a day. Reading 10 pages of a book before bed. Practicing a skill for 30 minutes every morning. Making 1 sales call. Sending 1 email. Choosing 1 healthy meal instead of junk. These small, seemingly insignificant actions don't get applause, but they build the strongest foundations. Why is consistency more powerful than intensity? Because of compound growth. Every small action you repeat begins to stack. Not linearly, exponentially. Just like compound interest turns a small amount of money into wealth over time, consistent action turns average effort into exceptional results. It's not glamorous, but it works. The world's best athletes, musicians, entrepreneurs, and thinkers all live by this. They don't rely on massive bursts of motivation. They rely on habits. Consistency also builds identity. Every day you show up, even in a small way, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. Want to become a writer? Write every day, even for 5 minutes. Want to be fit? Move your body, even if it's just a 10-minute walk. Over time, your mind starts to say, this is who I am. This is what I do. Meanwhile, intensity often leads to burnout. You give everything in one huge push, then you collapse. You can't sustain it. And because you've built no rhythm, you fall back into old patterns. You start over again and again, each time with a little less belief in yourself. The cycle becomes demoralizing. Consistency is different. It's sustainable. It respects the reality of your life, your energy, your time, your responsibilities. You don't have to wait for a perfect day, a free weekend, or a wave of inspiration. You just commit to small, repeatable actions. And because those actions are doable, they're repeatable. And because they're repeatable, They're transformative. People often underestimate how much progress they can make in a year with consistent effort and overestimate how much they can achieve in a week with intense effort. One small action repeated daily outperforms occasional heroics. Want proof? Look at someone who learned a language in a year by practicing 15 minutes daily. Compare that to someone who studied intensely for 10 hours once a month and gave up. The difference is massive. There's another reason consistency beats intensity. It trains resilience. When you commit to showing up no matter what, you build mental toughness. You learn how to keep going when it's hard, boring, or frustrating. That's a superpower, because motivation fades. Circumstances change, but discipline, built through consistency, carries you when motivation can't. Consistency also improves quality. When you do something often, you get better. Each repetition teaches you something. Each mistake becomes a lesson. You refine your technique. You become more efficient. You develop instinct, not just knowledge. And over time, you start to outperform the people who seem to have more talent at the beginning. You didn't win by being the best. You won by staying in the game longest. Consistency builds trust with others and, more importantly, with yourself. When you keep small promises to yourself every day, your confidence grows. You start to believe you can rely on you. That belief changes how you act, how you speak, how you show up in every area of life. Planning feels good. It gives a sense of control, clarity, and possibility. You make lists, set goals, draw up timelines, map out strategies, and visualize success. You imagine the future you want, and for a moment, it feels real. But there's a danger hidden in that comfort. The illusion that planning is progress. It's not. Execution is what moves the needle. Execution turns ideas into impact. And without it, all plans are just well-decorated dreams. Many people confuse being busy with being productive. They spend hours refining their goals, reading more articles, watching tutorials, or researching endlessly. These actions feel productive, but they delay the moment of action. Planning is safe. Execution is risky, because the moment you start doing, you expose yourself to failure, imperfection, judgment, and the unknown. That's why people hesitate. But growth never happens inside the planning phase. It only begins when you step into the doing. Every successful person understands this truth. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a bias for action. The world doesn't reward those who think the best. It rewards those who act the fastest and learn the fastest. While others are overthinking, overplanning, and hesitating, the executors are testing, building, learning, and adapting in real time. Ideas are everywhere. Execution is rare. How many people have had the same idea as Uber before Uber existed? Hundreds. How many of them acted on it? Maybe a few. How many executed it well? One. That's the difference. You can't cache ideas. You can't scale thoughts. Only actions build momentum, and only momentum creates results. The truth is, most plans fall apart the moment they meet reality. You plan based on assumptions. You imagine how things should work. But when you actually start doing, you see where the holes are. You uncover problems you couldn't have predicted. And that's not a failure. That's feedback. The faster you execute, the faster you get that feedback. And the faster you get feedback, the faster you improve. Execution creates information that planning never reveals. It teaches you about the market, your audience, your own discipline, your blind spots, and your strengths. It helps you understand timing, tools, tactics, and temperament. You gain wisdom that no book, course, or coach can give you. It comes only from the act of doing. You might fail, but you'll fail forward. Each action brings clarity. Each misstep sharpens your next move. And execution doesn't need to be massive. It just needs to start. One cold email, one prototype, one phone call, one video upload, one client conversation. Small steps done consistently will always outperform elaborate plans that never get off the ground. Starting scrappy is better than waiting for perfect, because perfect never arrives, but progress does for those who move. Execution also creates momentum. Action begets action. Once you begin, energy builds, confidence grows. You stop thinking about doing, and you start becoming someone who does. You escape the trap of analysis paralysis and enter a state of learning through experience. The fear of failure shrinks because failure becomes part of the process, not a stopping point. Another power of execution is that it reveals who's serious. Everyone talks about goals. Few act on them. The moment you move, you separate yourself from 90% of people who are still just talking. And over time, that gap widens. You get better, faster. You build a body of work, not just a list of intentions. You become someone people can trust because you deliver. People respect execution. Not because it's flashy, but because it's rare. When you focus on execution, you also develop agility. You don't get stuck waiting for the perfect moment. You train yourself to adapt on the fly, to pivot when needed, to stay flexible and responsive. You become resourceful because doing forces you to find solutions, not just identify problems. You become someone who can be counted on by clients, teams, and most importantly, yourself. One of the most powerful habits that separates ordinary people from extraordinary achievers is relentless curiosity and a hunger for learning. It's not just about knowing more facts or collecting certifications. It's about having an insatiable desire to understand, to question, to explore, and to grow continuously. This habit creates a mindset that never settles, never assumes it's enough, and never stops evolving. Curiosity is the spark that ignites innovation and progress. Without it, you remain stuck in the same patterns, doing the same things over and over, expecting different results. But when you cultivate curiosity, you open doors to new ideas, fresh perspectives, and unexpected opportunities. It pushes you to ask deeper questions. Why does this work this way? What if I try this differently? What can I learn from this failure? Relentless learners understand that the world is changing faster than ever. Technologies evolve, markets shift, and industries transform in the blink of an eye. If you want to keep up, you must be willing to learn. Not just once or twice, but every single day. You must make learning a habit, not an event. Reading books, listening to podcasts, attending seminars, or talking to experts aren't just activities, they're investments in your future. This habit requires humility. You must accept that no matter how much you know, there's always more to learn. Sometimes it means admitting you don't have all the answers. Other times, it means being willing to challenge your own beliefs and assumptions. That's uncomfortable. It's easier to cling to what you think you know. But curiosity demands you step outside your comfort zone and embrace the unknown. Relentless curiosity also fuels creativity. When you're genuinely interested in learning, your brain starts making connections between seemingly unrelated ideas. You see patterns others miss. You generate solutions where others see problems. This kind of creative thinking is what drives breakthroughs in business, science, and art. Curiosity turns every experience, success or failure, into a lesson. Moreover, learning sharpens your adaptability. When you approach life as a constant learner, you develop the ability to pivot when things don't go as planned. You don't see obstacles as dead ends, but as puzzles to solve. This mindset is invaluable in an unpredictable world. It keeps you flexible, resilient, and ready to seize new chances that others overlook. The habit of relentless learning also builds confidence, paradoxically, by embracing uncertainty. When you expose yourself to new ideas and acquire new skills regularly, you expand your capabilities. You become more resourceful. You gain a toolkit to handle challenges with calm and competence. Confidence born from learning is not arrogance. It's a quiet assurance that you can figure things out no matter what. This habit is contagious. When you show others you care about growth, you inspire them to do the same. Leaders who practice curiosity create environments where innovation thrives. Teams that learn together adapt faster and perform better. And in personal relationships, a curious mind leads to deeper understanding and connection. Yet, relentless curiosity isn't about passive consumption. It's active and intentional. It means questioning what you read, verifying sources, testing ideas in the real world, and applying knowledge to improve yourself and your work. Learning without application is like a seed that never sprouts. It also means being selective. There's an overwhelming amount of information available today. Curiosity helps you cut through the noise and focus on what truly matters. The knowledge that moves you forward. You learn not just for the sake of knowing, but for the sake of becoming better. Finally, this habit transforms setbacks into opportunities. When you fail or face criticism, a curious learner asks, "What can this teach me?" rather than, "Why me?" This shift in perspective changes failure from a defeat into a stepping stone. It fuels persistence and continuous improvement. Relentless curiosity and learning are the engines of long-term success. They keep you evolving in a world that never stops changing. They make you not just a better professional, but a richer, more vibrant human being. Always growing, always exploring, always becoming. In the modern world, distractions are everywhere. Our attention is pulled in countless directions. Social media notifications, endless emails, phone calls, meetings, news alerts, and a constant stream of information competing for our focus. The ability to say no to distractions is not just a habit, it is a vital skill that separates those who achieve massive results from those who merely stay busy without real progress. Distractions are the enemy of focus and execution. When you allow interruptions to hijack your time and attention, your productivity plummets. It's not about working harder. It's about working smarter by protecting the time you dedicate to your most important goals. Saying no is a deliberate act of reclaiming your attention from the chaos of constant demands. One of the biggest challenges is that distractions often disguise themselves as urgent or necessary tasks. A sudden email feels like it must be answered immediately. A colleague's question seems like it cannot wait. The temptation to multitask appears productive, but in reality, it fragments your focus and reduces the quality of your work. Each yes to a distraction is a no to something truly important. The power of saying no comes from understanding your priorities deeply. When you have clarity about what matters most, whether it's a project, a goal, or personal growth, saying no becomes easier. It's no longer about rejecting people or opportunities. It's about protecting your commitment to those priorities. Saying no is a way to honor your own goals and the value of your time. This habit requires discipline and sometimes courage. Saying no might feel uncomfortable at first because it means disappointing others or missing out on what seems like fun or urgent. But each time you choose your focus over a distraction, you reinforce your ability to control your environment rather than letting it control you. Technology is one of the biggest sources of distraction today. Smartphones are designed to grab attention constantly. Apps use notifications, badges, and alerts to pull you back in, even when you're trying to concentrate. Learning to say no to these digital interruptions might mean turning off notifications, setting specific times to check messages, or using tools that block distracting websites during work periods. Saying no to distractions also means setting boundaries with others. It means communicating clearly about your availability and protecting your focused work time. It can involve scheduling do not disturb hours, closing your office door, or using headphones to signal that you are deep in work. These boundaries help others respect your focus and help you maintain flow. The habit of saying no to distractions cultivates deep work, a state where your mind is fully engaged in a task without interruption. Deep work is where your best ideas come to life, where complex problems are solved, and where mastery happens. Without protecting your attention from distractions, deep work becomes impossible. Moreover, the ability to say no helps you manage your energy, not just your time. Every distraction drains mental energy, causing fatigue and reducing your capacity to perform at your best. Protecting your focus means preserving your energy for what really matters and avoiding burnout caused by constant switching between tasks. People who master this habit don't just improve their work output, they also enhance their quality of life. Less distraction means less stress, fewer feelings of overwhelm, and more presence in the moment. It allows you to be fully engaged with your work, your relationships, and your personal growth. Saying no to distractions is also about avoiding the trap of business. It's easy to fill your day with small tasks and urgent demands that make you feel productive, but don't move you closer to your goals. Learning to say no helps you eliminate busy work and focus on high-impact activities that create real value. This habit requires ongoing attention because new distractions constantly arise. It's a daily choice to defend your focus. Over time, this discipline builds resilience against temptation and helps create an environment where productivity flourishes. The most successful people don't get more hours in a day, they get more focus out of the hours they have. They understand that every yes to a distraction is a decision about what they won't achieve. Saying no is not about negativity, it's about creating space for what truly matters to grow. Learning to say no to distractions is an essential skill for anyone who wants to 10x their results and create lasting success. It's a habit that protects your greatest asset, your attention, and allows you to channel your efforts into meaningful, impactful work. One of the simplest yet most transformative habits you can develop is the habit of doing the hard thing first. It's a principle that many high achievers live by, though it often flies in the face of natural human tendencies. When faced with a long to-do list or a challenging goal, most people procrastinate or delay the difficult tasks and instead focus on easier, more pleasant activities. But this approach keeps you trapped in a cycle of avoidance, stress, and mediocre results. Doing the hard thing first means you confront the most important, the most daunting, or the most uncomfortable task at the very start of your day. This habit sets the tone for everything else that follows. It's like clearing a heavy weight off your shoulders early so that the rest of your day feels lighter, more manageable, and more productive. Instead of dreading the difficult task, you get it out of the way when your energy and willpower are at their peak. Why does doing the hard thing first work so well? First, it harnesses the power of momentum. When you start your day by conquering a challenge, you build confidence immediately. That victory, no matter how small or large, becomes a catalyst that propels you forward. Suddenly, other tasks seem easier because your mind has already accomplished something significant. This momentum multiplies as the day progresses, fueling greater productivity and sharper focus. Second, tackling the hardest task first protects you from the emotional burden of procrastination. Often, the mere anticipation of a difficult task creates stress and anxiety that drains your energy all day long. By facing it head-on early, you eliminate that mental weight. You transform a looming source of dread into a source of pride and accomplishment. Doing the hard thing first also helps you avoid decision fatigue. Your willpower and self-control are strongest in the morning after a good night's rest. If you leave the tough stuff for later, you risk running out of energy or motivation, causing you to delay or avoid it entirely. By prioritizing difficult tasks early, you ensure they get done before exhaustion or distractions interfere. Another key reason this habit works is that hard tasks often require deep focus and creativity, both of which are in short supply after hours of work. Your brain functions best when fresh, so attacking challenging problems early means you're more likely to solve them effectively. Waiting until later when you're mentally tired usually leads to frustration, lower quality work, or avoidance. This habit also builds mental toughness and discipline. Each time you choose to do what's hard instead of what's easy, you reinforce your ability to face discomfort and uncertainty. Over time, this trains your mind to embrace challenges rather than shrink from them. You develop resilience, patience, and a growth mindset, essential traits for long-term success. Doing the hard thing first doesn't mean ignoring your other responsibilities. It means prioritizing your most critical or impactful work, even if it's uncomfortable. It might be making a difficult phone call, writing a report, practicing a new skill, or addressing a problem you've been avoiding. Whatever it is, it's the task that moves you forward the most, and also tends to be the one you want to put off. This habit also reshapes how you see discomfort. Instead of associating hard tasks with pain or frustration, you start to see them as opportunities for growth. You learn that the discomfort you feel is temporary, but the benefits of completing the task are lasting. This shift in perspective is powerful because it reduces resistance and increases motivation. Doing the hard thing first improves your time management. When you tackle difficult tasks early, you avoid last-minute rushes, missed deadlines, or low-quality work. You free up your schedule later for creativity, collaboration, and rest. This creates a healthier balance between productivity and well-being. Additionally, this habit encourages clarity and focus. When you know what your hardest, most important task is, you reduce the overwhelm that comes from a long, scattered to-do list. You gain a sense of direction and purpose that guides your decisions throughout the day. This clarity helps you resist distractions and stay on track. Finally, doing the hard thing first often inspires others around you. When you show commitment to tackling challenges directly, you set an example for your team, family, or peers. Your energy and discipline become contagious, raising the standard for everyone's performance. People naturally respect and follow those who face difficulty with courage rather than avoidance. Let me know if you want me to help with a conclusion or more expansions. In the end, the one habit that will truly 10x your results isn't about working harder in random bursts or chasing quick fixes. It's about cultivating a mindset and lifestyle centered on consistent, focused execution. Whether it's choosing consistency over fleeting intensity, prioritizing action over endless planning, nurturing relentless curiosity, protecting your attention by saying no to distractions, or tackling the hardest task first, these principles all revolve around one core truth: results come from disciplined, intentional effort over time. When you commit to these habits, you build unstoppable momentum. You transform overwhelm into clarity, hesitation into confidence, and ideas into impact. You stop being a passive dreamer and become an active creator of your future. Success isn't about magic or luck. It's about mastering these simple, powerful habits that multiply your effectiveness exponentially. So, start today. Identify your most important task, eliminate distractions, and take that first bold step forward. Over time, these habits compound and grow, creating breakthroughs that seem almost instantaneous to the outside world. The secret isn't in doing more, it's in doing what matters every day with relentless focus and courage.